早上好，为这一天感谢上帝. I need to be very direct. If we have a situation where our food market has bad products like this and good products like this, well, it's intuitionally understood that a majority of the people are going to be compulsively consuming poor health choices because that is what's available and that is what's mostly on the market. We have an assumption that we have a protection from our market being flooded in that way through our food associations. And modernly, we all know that nothing justifies smoking a cigarette, but they're still on the market and you have to know to avoid them. If you do avoid them, you also avoid all of the extreme problems that come with cigarettes and cigarette addiction. Because we have this assumption that our market is being protected from being flooded with addictive, harmful, unnatural products, most people feel like they can go into their supermarket, and even if they're buying something that they know isn't the best for their health, they assume that it's okay for their health. And that is absolutely not true. The same lack of respect in the cigarette for your health is the same lack of respect for your health in your supermarket. And just like you have to know to avoid the cigarette, you have to know what products to avoid and what products to eat. It's exactly the same. I can't logically tell you that they're not allowed to do it because they're allowed to do whatever they want. And so are we. So in that, we are allowed to avoid the harmful products for the sake of our own health. If we have a situation where individuals are more concerned with protecting their finances than our children's health, well, we'll end up in a situation where these individuals have a lot of currency, but our children are going to have very low health. We assume that protection is there, and it's not. I did not make up food addiction. It's very real, and it's raging in the Western world specifically, and now expanding to Asia and other areas, and it's doing the exact same thing to those humans because humans need the exact same vitamins and minerals to create their own enzymes naturally, and it doesn't matter where on the planet they live. Well, caffeine, sugar, salt, and all these dangerous hormonal injected products, well, they're going to do the same thing in China that they did in America. They do the same thing in India. They do the same thing everywhere because we're human beings. Not because we're in Canada or because we speak English or because you're male or because you're female. That's what the foods do, and that's why our market is supposed to be protected. And it's not. Now, it's all the same individuals. So if our food market is very much so crafted in a way where the people following that market are guaranteed to have a low degree of health without a lot of knowledge about what's going on, those people are very much so feeding on the addictions of the people and not protecting the people's health. I myself have kicked salt, sugar, and caffeine addictions, and I live on a completely nature-based food consumption, all primary source vitamin minerals to create my own enzymes naturally through my food while avoiding all those products and keeping my salt, sugar, and caffeine in an unaddictive degree within my own body. The salt addiction isn't as much like an addiction. It's more like there's an abusive amount of salt normalized. And they acknowledge that because there is low salt options available. They wouldn't even make a low salt option if they didn't already know that that degree of salt was too much. And it's not as much like an addiction. It's more like you have to know salt is good for you. Too much salt is dangerous to your circulatory health and your blood. So you don't want too high of an expectation of degree of salt in your mouth to be satisfied. Those products are always going to be on the market. But if you avoid allowing your degree of expectation for salt to get to that degree, you will also be avoiding all of the health issues that come with high degrees of salt. The caffeine very much so works like an addiction. You will get the boost that you want. You will also get the crash. By getting the boost, you're not really worried about the food energy because you have caffeine energy. You, as a creature of nature, need healthy food energy for vital health. If you are consuming dangerous degrees of caffeine to get through your day, every day, well, you are doing damage to your body by not only consuming that energy for your energy, but also by avoiding giving your body the vitamins and minerals they need to create your own enzymes and be vitally healthy. Much like the salt, you can keep your own caffeine degree at a level where it's not addictive, it's more useful. In that way, you use caffeine more than abuse caffeine. But once your caffeine level gets that high, when it comes down, well, just like when you're drunk and you get a hangover, well, that is the poison leaving your body, because that's what it is. And in that time, you need to drink lots of water, maybe even some black coffee to help your liver. But that's the process. And when any addiction leaves your body, you have to suffer to get rid of it. It doesn't just go. And that's why the salt isn't as much like an addiction, because you don't really suffer, you just wean yourself down. But the caffeine presents itself as a headache. And how do you get rid of the headache? Well, if you take a Tylenol for your headache, the medical field gives you a very responsible amount of caffeine in that Tylenol. But the food industry is not giving you a responsible amount of caffeine in that energy drink. So that responsible Tylenol is not going to kill your irresponsible headache from your irresponsible consumption of caffeine, which a lot of people think are okay because it's on the market. But again, it's not being protected. So the suffering of the hangover is the headache. So if you do have a caffeine issue, you'll have to push through headaches over time to get rid of that. You could still consume caffeine consciously and safely, but you can do a lot of damage to your body with a caffeine addiction. However, the sugar addiction was by far the worst one. It was very comparable to quitting cigarettes. I just felt so aggravated. I could just make the feeling go away if I just ate something. And I did. But I learned the difference. And I kicked the addiction. And that is, kicking the sugar addiction is significant enough for me to feel qualified to speak maturely and openly about this, because so many people live with them and don't know. And you're not going to quit it now if you've been addicted to it since you were young. And I'm not unreasonable in what I'm saying. However, if you had a sugar addiction since you were 5, which is very possible right now because these foods have been normalized over the sake of 20 to 40 years, well, you're very unlikely to recognize it and you're very unlikely to kick it. And I'm not judging you. It was fucking hell. However, if our children know the difference, and we as responsible human beings don't introduce that degree of sugar and garbage food to our children, they won't be introduced to that degree of sugar. They won't be introduced to that degree of salt and caffeine. and they won't need it, and they won't want it, and they will be more mentally clear, more healthy, and capable of dealing with whatever problems are in their lives and in the world. One more thing before I go. When the market is flooded with addictive, dangerous products, and most of the people are consuming dangerous, addictive products, those humans at a time of financial strain are going to be more concerned with their health and their finance, on the understanding that numbers can be whatever we want, and if we never talked about numbers again, we wouldn't die. Our quality of life wouldn't necessarily go down, but without our health, we have nothing. We die. And if we don't die, well, our quality of life and our mental clarity will be way down. So, in that situation, we're just trying to survive. We're trusting that the people we're following with the finances are going to be mature enough to protect our finances and not lead us into a mental anguish with irresponsible financing, especially at a point when health is at a low, because obviously with health at a low, that's when we need the protection the most. It's not coming for you. It's not coming for you. It's not coming for me. It's not coming for any of us. Because the finances are not being protected. The offsets like this, we paid for it not to get bigger. It just keeps getting bigger. They're not going to listen to us. We already paid for that not to get bigger. And it's going to get bigger. And in that, we paid for something we're not going to get. And that is fraudulent on the citizens' honest earnings. The exact same disrespect for our children's health is in our food market. And it's all very connected. I see it clear as day. I know why a lot of people do not. But I also feel like even a lot of those people that may not have seen it will very much so intuitionally, intelligently, and practically understand everything I'm saying. I am not insulting your intelligence. We, as responsible human beings that want healthy children and healthy economies so that our children can look forward to the future and have modern lives, we need to do something about the situation, because they're still giving us cigarettes, they're still giving us all the addictive products, and we have to be able to avoid them. And if they're not going to protect our finances and they're not going to protect our children's health, what are they protecting? And on an international degree, there is no room for leniency. This isn't just your country. This is our globe. And the same thing that happened to the people in Canada and America from consuming these irresponsible, unnatural foods, the same decrease in health, the same decrease in mental clarity, the same decrease in life quality. These same foods are popping up on the other side of the world, and it's doing the exact same thing to their people, and it will. Because again, these products do this to humans. Not because it's 2022, not because you're in China or Canada or America or India, not because of your age, not because of your mother tongue, not because of your gender, because you're a human being. And you, as a living creature of nature, need to take care of your own health according to nature. And if you don't, those garbage products will keep you alive. And equally as confident as I am that they will keep you alive, they will also decrease your mental clarity and your quality of life while you're alive. You are not going to be able to change my mind on any of that, because I have kicked addictions, I have done this work, and I do know the difference. Again, we can't stop them from doing this, but we can stop choosing the things they're pushing on us. And I hope you could take that seriously for the sake of future generations. Thanks very much to all those that have been able to take my life work seriously. I don't generally get respect, so thank you if you're able to respect me. My son is with me today. 为我们的孩子感谢上帝. And I've been sitting here for quite a while trying to make this video maturely. So I'm just going to post this one and go about my day. I have a lot of very unpleasant things I need to do today. In the meantime, eat good, remain optimistic, be thankful for your life, and create a good day for yourself. 对所有人的和平与爱，再次感谢上帝。再见。